Hello, everybody. This is once again Rob Shmuel, and once again wearing my workout shirt. I lift like an old man, try to keep up. I go on about fitness and health, and it's a passion of mine, is almost as much or maybe more of a passion than Judaism. I've been working out steadily for about, oh gosh, 45 years or so, and that in me doesn't even include, I did try to do some sports in high school, never really good at sports. Took up martial arts in college, you know, so I've always kind of done a little bit, but it was about the time when I was 25 when I really got serious and started jogging. Then when I moved to California and met my wife, Rachel, we started doing aerobics. I don't know if any of you remember a show that was on at 5 o'clock in the morning here in California in the LA area called the 20-Minute Workout, Best Mata. She actually had a big guest starring, kind of a supporting role in the movie The Terminator. So um, we used to work out kind of fun with her. Then we developed our own aerobic workouts. Then we got into weight training and a few other things. And now that we're actually retired, we have a benefits plan, a Medicare plan that includes gym membership. And that's real critical for us. And because we go to the gym regularly and we use their equipment and, do some classes as well as the actual weight training, and thanks to my wife, we now eat organic exclusively. We watch what we eat. I don't even crave sugar or chocolate anymore. It's weird. We're pretty healthy. Last time I was at the doctor and got blood work, it was all great. It was all normal. So why am I bragging? And yes, I know if it's true, it's not bragging. But the point is, in Judaism, and this is Judaism, there are places in the Torah, and I think I've mentioned this before, where the rabbis say doing things that are harmful to your body, excess alcohol, smoking. I know some people may like to do a little recreational drugs every now and then, but it's not good. This body is on loan from God. We are made in God's image. So the body is in God's image, maybe not a physical image, but a spiritual image. And it's there to house, the ruach, the spirit, the soul, the nefesh, the neshama, all that. So we got to take care of it. And it just hurts me when I see people who get older or they have these medical problems that are not exclusively due to genetics or are exacerbated by a poor health lifestyle, an unhealthy lifestyle, eating garbage and not taking care of themselves. And I know I've got relatives, I've got grandkids that kind of eat a lot of junk food, but they're active. They burn it off. So it's kind of, folks, watch what you do, watch what you eat. Even if you're in the throes of dealing with a bad illness, you can still turn it around to some extent. So go for it. Do what you got to do. Sometimes I know it's not easy to maintain a healthy lifestyle, but you know what? It's worth it in the end. And, sometimes things that you work hard for are the best things. Now, let's talk about some people who didn't work hard for things, and those are the spies and the Israelites that are now stuck in the wilderness for 40 years, and they are upset. Now, if you notice, I left out the adjective understand or adverb understandably upset because I don't understand it. You guys, I hate to use the metaphor, but you dug your own grave. You did. Okay. God gave us freedom, right? Plagues, signs, and wonders of Pharaoh. And we marched out of Egypt with our heads held high, with all our stuff, with bounty, or maybe you could say it was payback from the Egyptians from working over 100 years with no pay and dying off. So here we go, walking out into the wilderness. Pharaoh has a change of heart, of course, brings his special forces, his charioteers up to attack us. And what's the first thing God does? He puts a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud in between us so that we can, as he does that, he splits the sea, hardens the ground. We walk through, we get through. Egypt tries to follow. He closes the sea, drowns them all. People see the dead bodies washing up on the shore, so they know it's just not hearsay. They know they're out of trouble, and they dance and they sing praises to God. And 2 minutes later, what are we going to drink? Okay, well, throw the tree into the river, and the bitter waters will now become sweet, and you could drink. Okay, What are we going to do for food? Okay, well, here's the manna. It'll taste exactly like your favorite food. Maybe a chocolate sundae. It would taste like, I don't know. And then, well, what are we having for breakfast? Manna. What's for dinner? Manna. What's for, manna again? Okay, here's some meat. Still not enough. Moses goes up to get the 10 Commandments, and people like they misjudge, where is he? They can't wait a day. They get all rowdy. They kill a few people. Aaron tries to buy time. They make a golden calf, and Moses comes down. He's totally irate, smashes the first stone tablets and has to go up there again, begs God for mercy. And God's like, okay, we'll give him another chance. Comes back. Okay. Now, after they've defeated Amalekite, right? Remember the incident where they came after them, and Joshua led the troops to defend Israel, and Moses with Aaron and Hur are up on the mountain, and they hold his arms up, and as long as his arms are up, they win. Okay, great. So now God says, okay, if you want, send some spies into the land and check it out and see what it's like. On the superficial, on the one hand, good idea. Let's scout. Let's see what we're dealing with. On the other hand, God's come through these 9, 10 times. Why would he not come through now? Right? Okay. So spies go in, they see all these people, they're used to the land, they're hardy, they work the land, they've been working. I worked on a farm, I was on a kibbutz for 6 months, I built up. That's what happens when you work for a living. Okay, the Israelites, okay, they're a little scrawny, they worked, yeah, they worked themselves like almost to death, but they didn't have the food and nutrition to build themselves up. Different situation, right? So they come back and they say, well, the people are big, and the land is inhospitable, which was actually kind of, it was valid. It was a valid description, but they spun it. First instance in history where somebody spun news to make it look bad, and people now are freaking out. And God's like, I'm done. 40 years you're going to waste away in the desert, and the next generation is going to come on because you are absolutely not fit to conquer the land. And now they're upset. So perfect opportunity for a guy like Korach to come, who is Moses' cousin, and start demeaning Moses and Aaron because people are blaming them. It's their fault we don't get to go into the promised land. And Korach's like, yeah, and what did they do? They led you out into the desert. You're going to die off. What fun is that? What did they do for you? And of course, he issues a challenge to Moses and Aaron as the leaders. He goes, well, Moses is the leader. Who made him leader? And of course, what does he do? He makes his brother the high priest. I'm a Levite. What's the matter with me? Okay, so that's taken care of. And the people are still angry. What are you angry about? You brought this on. People, they don't want to take responsibility. Maybe another sign that they weren't fit to conquer the land. They don't own up to the fact that, yeah, I guess, we didn't have faith in Hashem, and we complained, and, we kind of brought this on ourselves. We deserve it, 10 times. God gave him 10 times. Why do we need 10 adult people now for a minion? Because this is one of the reasons 10 seems to keep coming up. 10 trials of Abraham. 10 righteous people to spare Sodom and Gomorrah. 10 spies. 10 times they tested God. So this 10 keeps coming up. So the rabbis figure, well, if 10 keeps coming up, there must be a reason for it. So, you want to say a Kaddish, you want to do a Torah service, you want to repeat the Amidah, you need 10. Okay. In conservative Judaism, 9 if you have a Torah scroll. So, and that's because, why do we use the Torah scroll? Because when a Torah scroll is completely non-usable, we bury it the same way we bury a person. All this is exegesis, derivation, okay? So this is where we stand. The people are they're just not, you can't please them. You try to give them stuff and they don't appreciate it. You tell them, okay, make a little bit of an effort. Do what you got to do. Joshua and Caleb are sitting there telling people, we saw that too. What are you worried about? We've got God on our side. They don't. So unfortunately, this is how it is. So is there a moral to the story? Is there a happy ending? People like happy endings. They go off on me when I leave things in dire straits. So the happy thing is that we've learned our lesson. This is why I personally, we've got Tisha B'Av coming up. I don't like to fast to mourn. I don't. Um, I'll fast if I need to, if I want to, but we've got Israel. We're winning against our enemies. Israel is a beacon of hope in the world. They're producing medical miracles. My father is 95. He had cancer. He's still alive and healthy because of something they developed in Israel. So why are we still mourning? Let's be grateful. Okay, this whole anti-Zionism thing from other so-called Jews, cultural Jews. What do you call a cultural Christian? An atheist. I saw that on Facebook somewhere. What do you call a cultural Jew? A Jew. Okay, so all right, enough pontificating. You guys have a great Shabbat. Okay, I'm still here. I'm still smiling. I'm still laughing with you. We will get through all this. Okay, love you. Thanks for listening.